Man, what's going on? What's going on, man?
Chilling, man.
It's a
Chilling.
privilege, man. It's an honor to be able to sit down with you today. And before I just give you guys a quick background, I came across you on Clubhouse, and you're doing a lot of positive things out there, moderating a lot of positive rooms. And I say, when our schedules align, I said, I'm gonna reach out to that brother and get him on the show and really just find out what his story is, what he's all about. So I'm just really just thankful that you're able to spend time with us on the Collab show today.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
How are you doing today before we get started? How are you doing out there?
I'm blessed, man. You already see the shirt, King. I'm blessed
King,
all day long.
King, and I really hope you guys that are listening out there today, whether you be a king, queen, whatever you identify as, start operating in royalty, interacting
Yes,
with other
sir.
people with royalty, okay? Because once you conduct yourself like you're a king or a queen, you are going to be interacting on a different level. So definitely thank you for bringing that up today. King-minded, king's business that we're taking care of while we're on this earth. So while we get started, just give them the viewers out there just a short summary of your name, what you go by, and what you do, and then we'll get to the behind the story of how you got into that field of work.
Okay, my name is Kyle Jacker, originally from Port Arthur, Texas. Been in Atlanta, Georgia now for about 14 years. Have six amazing, beautiful kids. I love being a dad. I have a church that I go to. It's church named Berean Christian Church in Stone Mountain, Georgia, 2201, under the teachers of Dr. Curran B. Lee. I am a motivational speaker. I'm an upcoming life coach and personal trainer. But the first thing before all that, I am a child of God.
Now you dropped six kids, man. I don't see one bag, man. You got the young face, man. So please, I got one. Give us some advice how we can get on that level. But yeah, that's just amazing how you're doing amazing things with the motivational coaching, the life coaching, and you're a believer. I am a believer as well, and I can sense that before you even told me that you are a believer. So that gets me to my first question. What's the background story for you getting into your most passionate work? How did you get there?
I got there because 4 years ago I was in the streets. I was doing what I wanted to do my own way. And sometimes when you deal with street culture, what you always do is you look at the people that's around you, you look at the people that's around you, you be like, I want to be like those guys. But one thing about me, I never wanted to be like the guys that I saw. I always wanted to do something different. I feel like God always steered me away from doing what everybody else did. So as I start seeing people's mind frame start to change, I just looked and I kept on doing. I was like, man, something else got to come from it. I was one of them dope boys that I knew everybody by name. I cooked for them and let them come in the house and chill with me and stuff like that. So I always learned that that's not the typical way to go. But I always learned if you treat people not like what they do, but who they truly are, you will actually make it farther and farther in life. So kept on doing what I was doing, and eventually, one of these days, I got shot in my hip. I wasn't supposed to be able to walk at all. Yes, I got shot. I wasn't supposed to be able to walk, but I'll never forget that I was sitting in the hospital bed, and my grandma, she's now going to pass away. Her name is Catherine Jacko. I remember that she sat on the edge of that bed, and the edge of that bed, she told me I had to change. And I never forget it. She said I had to change. And I'm looking at my life like, okay, I don't know where this came from, but it always stuck with me. And then I was in the ride in the car. The whole car got shot up. I didn't catch any bullets, not one. So I got shot once and then got shot in the car. And then I was just like, whoa. I started looking at all my friends. I had a cousin, he got brutally murdered, killed with an AK-47, and I had another cousin, he got killed. And I had another one, he died from a heart attack. So I started looking at life and I started saying to myself, something has to change. It has to. I want people to represent me in a lovely fashion. I don't want to see no RIP shirt for me. That was the moment that it snapped. It snapped right then in that moment. And that's when I end up where I was staying that they had a man named Mr. Lester. Mr. Lester passed away January 1st. But Mr. Lester invited me to go to Berean Christian Church not one time, not two times, but three times. The last time he invited me, I was like, man, I don't go to this church. This man gonna keep on speaking to me. He gonna keep on speaking to me about it. So I was like, you know what? I said to myself, Jacko, you have done everything else in your life except go the right way. So what I ended up doing was I ended up going to Berean Christian Church and went to a Bible study, a men's conference, and went there and I heard Pastor Lee. And when I heard him, I was just like, whoa, I was blown away. So right then and there, I never forget what he said. You can't serve two masters. And right then, I knew exactly what he meant. So what I started doing was I started just saying, how can I change it? The first thing was that I started looking at my community. I don't think I was doing was hurting my community. I wasn't building my community. I always had a mind frame to talk, but I just never like to talk. Like nobody knew my real name at all. Everybody called me King. Nobody knew my real name. So as I kept on going to church, I just felt this presence of just happiness and just, whoa, I know I got it. So as I'm going, we all doing church. We always think that this is gonna be a golden brick road right here. That's not what happened. The first week I was at church, my car got stolen. The first week. Now
Oh,
a lot of people would have just deterred back, but I never did. Well, I did deter back because when I first started going to Berin, all the drugs I had, I put them to a Cisco gas station, and I lit all of them on fire. I lit
oh,
everything up on fire. So it wasn't no going back anyway. When the car got stolen, I was just like, God, come on, I want to do something great. And I just kept on going to church. I used to catch ride with members at church. I used to do 3 services a day. Like just like keep my mind going. My kids, they didn't like it all because they was always in church. But I knew I had to be there. And when
right.
I was gone, my motivational coach was Dr. Kern B. Lee. Because you see my pastor and you see how he speaks to people, he don't speak to you like you're beneath him. He speaks to you like we're right. Even though he's a pastor, you want to know how are you doing that. We have a mega church. My pastor really remembers almost everybody at church. I've been around for 4 years now. So when I spoke to Pastor Lee, I told Pastor Lee, I want to do something to inspire the minds. And he's like, what you thinking about? I said, I'm thinking about doing motivational speaking. And he said, well, go ahead, research it, and do it. So I went home that night, prayed. When I prayed, I woke up in the morning with like a major headache. And that was the making of motivational speaker Kyle Jacko. And it started right there, and it never stopped. So it's been 4 years now.
Man, this is loaded. Let's break this down for the people out there. Is you're living a life and you're out there in the streets and you're living that life, but you still feel that there's something more. And that's something that I really hope people understand, that they always think it's just got to be in the church to find God. They think people find God in the church, and they do, in the pew and all that. But some people find God in a trap house. Some people find God somewhere, where they're dealing, or on the basketball court, or wherever. There's no specific place. It's all about that person's life and what works for them. So the fact that you're actually finding something inside of you that's burning inside of you, saying, you know what, there's got to be more than life than this. And then your grandmother, God rest her soul, seeing something in you, knowing that it was her time, but saying, if she had not gave you those words, you know, who knows the trajectory of where you would have been today had she
She
not given
passed
you
away
those
by then
words.
too. She passed
She,
away. It wasn't my grandma. My grandmother passed away like 3 4 years ahead, like ahead. Like she been
wow,
passed away. It was like
wow,
really the Holy Spirit. Like it was my grandmother. She came down. She sat with me on that bed because my grandmother. I was one of the grandkids that didn't get locked up. I was
mm,
always the grandkid that stayed out of trouble. That's how I got to Atlanta. So it wasn't my grandmother sitting on that bed, but God sent her to speak to me when I need like she needed to talk to me. But like I said, also I went back out there and done the same thing. But I always knew it was something different about it. My grandmother told me as a little kid, once you learn how to use your voice, you will be great. She always said I talk a lot too, so I guess it went together.
now, what I'm thinking is, how did someone like yourself think to yourself, like, okay, I'm making a change, and it sounds like to me that you xed out a plan B with God. You just said he gonna be my plan A, and I'm burning up drugs, everything. There's no option two, option three. I'm either all in or I'm all out. I really am just curious to know, how did you get to that mindset where it's like, I'm going all in. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm just trusting that somehow he's going to make a way out of this situation.
Because I looked at it when the team I was playing on with the streets don't have no love. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? But I know when you believe in God, I haven't had God in my life my whole entire. I have pastors. Half of my whole entire family is pastors. So I know what happens. I know what happens when you put all your trust in God. So it means like I was playing for the street team that had no love. So when the street team had no love, what God did was God removed all the street people out of my life. Like I only had one that was left, and he got removed. So it's like my mind frame had to always change. So it just I always wanted to be legendary. I didn't want to be average. I always wanted to be a king, except I didn't know how to use my voice. So it was just like you've been playing in these streets for so long, Jacko. Stop playing in the streets. Go ahead and do what you know God designed you to do. And my support team that I had, people that was in my life, they all just disappeared. But they disappeared for the right thing because that way I was just focused solely on God. I'm like that horse. You know, the horse had the blinders on. I didn't see nothing right there. I just, my kid, God, my kids, family. That's it. And guess what? Sometimes the family, they didn't believe what I was doing either. My family, some of my family members, they didn't believe in me going to church or the motivation of speaking. What I did too with them, I asked them out the picture. You know what I'm saying? I even have my mom, she didn't believe in me in this. You know what I'm saying? She didn't. So what I started to do was I just started to say, I'm gonna just put all my trust in God. God's gonna lead me the right way. And I'm so glad that I trusted in God because me trusting in him, I have learned and overcame so much things. And for me sitting back, you know, whenever I get ready to accept the award any day, whenever it happens, I'll be saying, God is the person I want to thank first. It ain't nobody else but God. God gave me these kids. You know, I had them. God gave me these kids for me to take care of. God gave me the brain firm I have. He gave me so much stuff. And the energy that you hear on Clubhouse, that's nothing but God. That's why I say his name. His name is God. That's how I feel 365.
You know, and it make me thinking like you know, you being out there and seeing death, seeing people dying on the side of you, and people that you've had a connection with, and also mentioning family members not really believing in you or saying, you know, I don't think that's the route you should take. I'm really just that courage. Tell someone out there right now that is struggling with, you know, they're living out a different lifestyle, whatever it may be, and they really just don't know like the way to go. The parents are basically trying to shield them, keep them stationary, complacent in the same position. They got their boys or their girls, whatever, trying to keep them in a drama scenario. I want to know is like, can you give them words of wisdom of how to have courage to just go the other route, to just take a chance on doing something different?
The words of wisdom is this right here. If you know that in the day that you want to do something real big in the world, you got to understand people will not always believe in you. And sometimes why they don't believe in you because they have probably thought about doing something. But see, being average is so great to some people's minds. Some people never want to be anything but average. So if they want to be average, you have to elevate your mind and tell yourself every single day, I know I can do this. You know, a lot of times people sit back. If you ask anybody that's older, 50, 60 some years old, they always say, man, I'm looking at life right now, man. I could have done so much. I could have done
Mm-hmm.
so many different things.
Yep.
You don't want to get that old and be like, man, I could have been one of the best motivational speakers. I could have had my own TV network. I could have created the next clothing line. I could have created something. And you get older and you're like, well, I didn't do it because they didn't believe in me. Guess what? Take support team out your vocabulary. Sometimes you got to be your own support team. As I started everything that I'm starting right now, I started doing it and nobody believed in me at all. Like I
Mm-hmm.
brought my own cameras, I brought my own stand, I edit my own videos, I did all of it. But I know I believe in it. So if somebody listening to me right now, I'm here to tell you, you're not a mistake. You're a blessing. You want to be legendary. You can't put in 50%. Do 100, do 150, do 160. You want to win in life, you got to do it. But the first thing you got to do is you got to find your walk with God. You got to find you somebody that can lead you in the right direction. And the one you can lead in the right direction is God. I tell people so many times, I don't trust man, I trust God. God ain't never led me wrong. But guess what men have? So you got to make sure you get encountered. You got to get around the right people. Not these, don't get around people that don't want to go nowhere. See, everybody that's around my tribe is always pushing me for great. My tribe prays for me. But all my tribe, we believe in God. So you got to get somebody that's in your life like dedicated. Y'all can walk together. You want to walk by your own like I did at first. It's gonna be good. It's just got to get ready for these challenges. And God will send the right people to you in your life, but you have to trust and put all your trust in God, not man. I want to say it one more time. Not man, but God. If you don't know anything about God, you don't know where you get started. Hey, I know y'all got a grandmother, auntie, or one of your friends that you know that go to church. Like sit them down and speak to him. I have one friend, he ain't know how to pray. I showed him how to pray. So you need to reach out to me, you can reach out to me too.
You made me think of the Bible when David was, on the attack and everyone was coming for him. And there's a passage that says he encouraged himself in the Lord. And I
Yes,
want to
sir.
give advice to anyone out there right now is sometimes, always it's going to be you and God. No matter who leaves, it's always going to be left with you and God. And you said something very important, is being your own support system. Stop waiting for this spectacular cheerleader to come out of the blue to cheer you up and make you feel enthusiastic about your own dream. You got to be looking yourself in the mirror and saying, I like how that looked. And not arrogance, but I love me. I love the vision I have. I love the gift that God gave me. I love the trajectory, the destiny I'm headed towards, and bump out all of the noise from the naysayers, because the naysayers ain't doing nada. Okay, so that's why they're called naysayers, because they're not doing anything, so they want to put that on someone else's plate. So it leads me to my next
So
question.
you got to think
Yeah,
about this.
yeah,
Every day you need to wake up as something different. You cannot wake up the same way every single day. And
yep.
like I love what you were saying, because I motivate myself.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else motivates me as well. I motivate myself every single day. Like I just lost one of the pastors at my church, and I lost some Saturday. I've
Mm-hmm.
been motivating myself every single day. If
Wow.
somebody out there you sitting up here, I ain't lost so much. Guess what? I lost Mr. Lester January 1st of this year. I lost my stepdad February 1st. I lost my uncle February 20th. And 7 years came up for my cousin being brutally murdered. Then another friend of mine, he was gone for a year. And then last Saturday, Pastor Rodney passed away. I've been
Wow.
putting in just growth and just praying harder and harder every single day. But I motivate myself every day. Every day I look in the mirror and I tell myself I got to be a better Kyle Jackson than I was yesterday.
And that's a really inspiring way to live life, is dealing with so much loss, but you're
Hmm.
still gaining a clear mindset of just saying it was God's plan,
Yes, sir.
and that's something that we have to understand. We can't question His will. We can't question why this happened, whatever. But we have to look at it from He knows best, and He's the one that makes the executive decision. I'm curious to know, over your span of life, being on this earth, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received from someone that has had like a really just a great impact on you as a human being, as a father, just as a believer? Like, what piece of advice is something that you always go to, even on your toughest days?
The piece of advice I always get is the one: if you want to build it, build it.
Hmm.
Simple as that. Like the person that told me they're really out, they always start winning. They just leave it just like that. If you want to
Yep.
build it, just build it. What I got from it is no matter what I put my hands on, I'm gonna build it. You don't gotta believe in me. I'm gonna build it because I love it. I'm gonna keep on doing it because I love doing it. I'm trusting what God tells me to do. So you want to build it? Go build
I get from talking with you, man. We kinfolk. We kinfolk because I
it.
can tell. Let me tell you why we kinfolk. Because if I come across a problem, I found a solution. Yeah, it's terrible that I don't have nobody to help, this, that, and the third, whatever. Get over that. I go in there and say, okay, if I gotta get the camera, like you said, if I gotta add the music, if I gotta do this, if I gotta do that, like you said, build it. If you want to build an empire, build it. And while you building it and actually putting in the work, eventually you're gonna catch the right eyes of people that say, I like the way that person work. I like the way that they get everything thrown their way and they're still continuing to go for it. So I can tell just from talking with you, just seeing your videos, listen to the clubhouse, that you are someone that you don't get caught up in no's, you don't get caught up in rejection, you don't get caught up in
No's,
obstacles.
rejections. I
You
don't get
use
caught.
it.
I don't get
Yeah.
caught up in followers. I don't get caught up in oh man, they watch the video, they didn't do this. I don't get caught up in none of it. 694 videos I edited. I edit all the videos myself.
Yep.
I done it
That,
myself. I'm just not about to follow. Like I have kids to take care of, and I'm not about to. Hey man, can you edit a video for me? Nah, I do it myself. Hey man, can you hold the camera for me? Nah, I go pay for a stand. Hey man, can you design a shirt for me? Nah, I just go reach out to my logo designer. He'll do the whole entire thing for me. So God is always putting the people that's in my life that's right there. Even my sister over there, she's the one that helps me out when I have to like putting words together on like my MacBook or doing the video call. Like she even helped me right now. She was like, no, the lighting has to be like this. I was like, I can do the video. She was like, no, the lighting is not right. I was like, okay, but we all need those type of people. So yeah,
Yep.
I build it and God has sent me the people to help me build it even more.
That's awesome. We get into our last question, but I just wanted some final comments and say that if you're listening to this interview, it should motivate you to not use what you've been through as an excuse. To look at your story and say, that is a unique story. Nobody gonna have a story like that. You're gonna have a unique story. So don't stop, people out there, stop being ashamed of what you did in the past, which your mistakes, your failures. That is gonna help someone. They might read your book, they might see a video and say, I finally come across someone I connect with that is basically saying that they overcame those obstacles. So look at this interview not as just something like, okay, yeah, motivation, but look at it as like this guy over here, this king, he used what he went through and he used that to turn something negative, something positive where he can help other people in his community, in his walk of life. You take notes on that, all right? Take notes.
Yes, sir.
I mean,
I
over
do want
to,
to tell it. I do
yep.
want to tell y'all this right here. When you get ready to walk out there and you get ready to be something, make sure God gives you that title. Stop making titles for yourself. It ain't made for you. They don't come from God. Stop doing it. Stop worrying about the followers. Guess what? Who's supposed to follow you, they will follow you. Stop worrying about the mic claps on Clubhouse. If you know you're speaking a good word, you know God told you to speak. If they don't clap you at all, keep on being great. Because guess what? 34 years, they didn't clap for me at all. I made sure I clapped for myself.
Mm. Guys, listen right here. If you get 1,000 likes and you don't love yourself, it's in vain. If you get 1,000 likes and you don't love yourself, it's in vain. If you get 1,000 comments from other people, but you're not commenting how great you are or how much God has done for you, it's in vain. Don't get caught up in how many people are following you, how many people are sharing you. The right people are going to see you, and God's going to work things up when you're going to have people that know you all over the world. So don't get caught up in quantity, which is all about numbers. Get caught up in quality. The quality is what matters most. I'd rather have 30 quality people listening to me every day than having 1,000 people that are just taking it in and taking it out. It's all about the quality of what you're giving to the consumer or the people that support what you do. Now, let the people know out there how they can get in touch with you. I want you to let everyone know where you're at, man, like how they can support you on your business, your website, whatever you got going on. If you got a new salt and pepper line coming out, I don't care what it is. Let people know what you got going on so we can support you, man, because you're doing some amazing work where you are.
Okay, how y'all can reach out to me. Y'all can reach out motivational86 at yahoo.com. That's where we reach out to me. I don't give nobody my number, so that's not gonna happen. You can reach out to me on Instagram also. And you can check me out on Clubhouse. You type in Kyle Jacko, that's my real name. It's so many things I'm doing. I got some called Push, where it's me and my spiritual moms, my spiritual sisters and friends. We all created this thing called Push, praying till something happens. And then on top of that, you can check me out on YouTube. YouTube is something I'm doing right now, the Kyle Jacko, where I have some called Queen series, supporting all queens around the world. And it's something that I love because I don't have your TikTok people on the. These are queens that's on here that's telling you their life story, their testimony. I have the King series, which I asked you to be a part of the next year. You got to get on the King series. The
I'm
King
coming,
series,
man. I'm coming.
okay,
Yep.
is support strong kings in the world. So you can just show these little boys around here something different because everybody ain't going into the league. Everybody ain't gonna go. You got to show these little kids out here they
Yep.
can do something.
Yep.
So if you want to check me out, like I said, motivation86.com. I have shirts out right now. A King series shirts, Queen series shirts, the regular motivational shirts. If you ever get to Atlanta, Georgia, I mean, check out my church in Stone Mountain, Berean Christian Church 2201. And everybody say you check me out on the clubhouse streets, but I don't be in the clubhouse streets, man. I'll just be motivating the world with positivity and growth.
That's awesome, man. My wife in the comment section said powerful story. I will second that. You are doing
But it's
amazing
just
work.
not a story. This is a testimony. I hate the
Let's
word story.
and you know what, and I like that because when the story it pauses. Somebody said that's a good
Hmm.
story, but the testimony is forever. You can forever share it. Even when you're gone, someone will still have that testimony. It still lives on. Thank you for the correction in that regard.
Yeah,
That
because you
brother
know
got
one
a
thing about story.
yep.
Story we are. It's like these books up here that my sister have up there. These are stories in books.
Hmm.
See, there's a testimony in Kyle Jacko. is to not ever give up on yourself. The story, the testimony of Kyle Jacko is knowing that, hey, my mom, she tried to commit suicide. My dad wasn't there, but I always pushed forward. Having having 6 kids, and everybody like, oh my God, he got 6 kids. And I'm like, okay, I'm glad I got 6 because guess what? I got 4 little girls. These little boys, they gonna push me in nursing home. These little girls, God gave me little girls for a reason. So that's why I look at my life. It has to be a testimony because it's gonna live forever, and I know it's gonna inspire somebody every single day.
Man, Jacko, King Jacko, man, Kyle Jacko. I'll call you King. Thank you, man, for joining us on the collab show where stories are shared. We got to do this again, man. I was motivated.
Yes, sir.
You
Oh,
know,
happy anniversary to you too, man. Happy anniversary to you and your wife
oh
too,
man, I
man.
appreciate that, man. Thank you, man. It
Welcome,
means
man.
a lot, man. And we'll be in touch. Have a great day, man. And we're gonna put this on YouTube as well, and have this on Instagram. So you guys support it, and I wish you and your family nothing but prosperity, man, and growth, and to
Right.
continue, man, just sharing that testimony and motivating people like me across the world.
If you don't mind, got to do a prayer for you right quick.
Man, go ahead. Definitely, I need one.
Okay. God, as I come to you right now, God, I want to say thank you for this interview. God, for the man right now that's right in front of me, God, I want you to keep on blessing him and his wife, his kid, and just God, everybody has on his show to keep on just moving forward in life. God, send him the right people for the right stages that he needs for this right now. God, I know when we work through you, God, everything will be okay. God, to everybody that's watching this right now, I watch right now, I want to tell them they are not a mistake. They are a blessing. They are a glory from God. They are king, they're a queen, and to act like this trust always in you, God. To everybody we have lost with COVID or anything else, God, I want them to always understand, God, they're around you, and right now there are angels around you. Amen.
Amen, man. That was powerful, man. Thank you again. And I received that prayer, and my family received that prayer, and I
Yes,
wish the
sir.
same for you and your family as well, man.
Thank you. Now I'm here to get on this clubhouse right because I know they called me to it again.
All right,
Love you,
man.
man. Keep in touch with me. I would love to do it with you again too.
All right, man. We'll be in touch, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, take care.
You too.